Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to What's the Deal featuring myself, Pat, and Tim Scoutless, episode 17, Tim. Today's August 13th, 2020. Can you believe we're already in August?
Man, where have you been, Patrick? I mean, I haven't seen you in, when was the last time we did one of these shows?
It's been a while.
It's been a while, right?
I think, we when we were stuck at home, we were doing them regularly every week, but we've been getting back out on the road and getting with our customers. And one of the things that we've been working with our customers on is what we're going to talk about today, Max My Trade. As you can see, if there's some background noise where Tim's at, he's actually in store today at a Toyota store.
I do have my mask, so
there you go.
I want you guys to be able to see me. Yeah, so let's get the formalities out of the way. If they want to get a hold of you, Patrick, there's your email, there's your LinkedIn. If you want to get a hold of me, there's my email. There's, hey, we got the Facebook group, Live from the Back Lot. You want to join that too. So let's talk about trades, Patrick, right? So what spurred the idea for this discussion today is I can't tell you how many people are telling me how hard it is to buy cars at auction. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, 100%. They're easy to buy if you want to pay for them.
Sure. Well, sure. I mean, obviously, just keep your hand up, right? That's what you're quitting on.
Like our old days at CarMax.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing the run that the market has been on. I think, there's got to be a point where this is going to start to come back. So now is more, I think, the best time ever to start thinking about closing more trades. I'm talking to my dealers and these guys specifically, like, do you know what your appraisal closing rate is or your look to book? And they're like, I don't know, like 25, 30%. I mean, are you kidding me? You should be closing 40, 50% of your trades right now. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially if the customer's at your store, at the curb, let's close them, because it's a lot cheaper to buy the car. It's always been cheaper to buy the car, from a customer than the auction. But I mean, that holds true now more than ever.
Yeah. So let's talk about some things that we could do to close more trades, just simple things. I think the first thing every dealer could do is just be slow down. How many dealers do we see, Patrick, that just want to, like, hey, here's the keys, boss, car's out there, can I get a number?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, number one thing, just slow down the whole process. It's a big investment. This is actually a chance for the customer to get involved too. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, the reason for slowing down, though, I really believe is earning the customer's trust. They already don't trust us. And when we're going to give them the offer, regardless of what that offer is, they're going to think it's too low.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about building value in the process, though, Patrick. What sorts of things are you seeing and talking to dealers about?
Might be getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but I think you nailed it on the head when you're getting the customer involved in the process builds value in what you're doing. Because if the customer hasn't met your used car manager or your appraiser, and they go out, they appraise the car, they come back and they give them a number, it might be what the car is worth, in the market, but what does every customer look at before they come inside of a dealership? They look at Kelley Blue Book and they all think that their car is in excellent condition. How many times, Tim, from your days behind the desk or at CarMax, are the cars that you appraise in actual excellent condition?
Less than 5%.
Exactly. I mean, Kelley even says to be less than 3% of cars on the road right now are in excellent condition. So, but they have a preconceived notion of what that vehicle is worth, and it's a lot higher than the actual value of the vehicle. So if you get them involved in the process and you build value in your appraisal process and let them take ownership of being part of this, where they're telling you what's wrong with their car or what's great about their car, either way, right? And what we're going to show you today is, how you can use our tool, or, even if you didn't want to pay for software, you can even create a form and go out there and walk around the car with the customer with a sheet of paper.
Yeah. So one of the big things that I've been coaching dealers in this process we're going to talk about today is getting the customer involved. I think that's something we're seeing more and more all throughout the process. Like this movement to buy cars online is allowing the customer to take control. So, getting them involved. And we're going to talk about self-rating, or the term that you like to use, Patrick, is that mutual evaluation.
Mutual examination of the vehicle.
A mutual examination, right? Just getting together and everybody agreeing, what this car we're about to talk about looks like and what kind of condition it's in. So there you go. I talked about I call it mutual evaluation. And then you alluded to it a little bit before. Close more trades by using evidence to back up your offer. Okay, there's lots of different evidence, right? There's Kelley Blue Book, there's NADA, there's Edmunds, no matter whatever you guys use, but if we can do that with the customer and put it in writing, I really think that this is a recipe for closing more trades.
100%.
We're gonna talk about putting that offer in writing, and call me crazy, all right, kids, hold on. You should be willing to buy the car from a customer, whether they're willing to buy a car from you or not. If you're not trying, tell me, Patrick, if you're not willing to buy a car from a customer, whether they buy a car, then what do you, it baffles me, like people won't buy cars from customers.
Yeah.
I'm at a dealership today and they had a great month in wholesale last month. I'm sure all you guys had great months in wholesale last month, right?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe those times will change, but let's get some customers going, right? And we'll talk about a clean, consumer-friendly customer offer form, all right? So, anything you want to add to this, Patrick, that I maybe have missed?
No, I think we hit it. I think we get in and show the folks, some options on how to do this.
Okay. So we were going to talk about the Max My Trade process that we use, but you kind of alluded to, you can, you don't really need the software. Now, if you want a chance at the software, reach out, or if you're currently using it, here's how, the best of the best are using it. So we get started, and the cool thing about this tool is it allows the salesperson, sorry about that, the salesperson and the customer to get together. So, and agree, hey.
Let me jump in real fast, Tim. We're using the desktop version of our software, but what our stores use is they have iPads at their store, or even their personal cell phone, and they do this on a device, and that you can't do it from a computer like this, but you can scan the customer's driver's license, and then the tool allows you to scan the barcode when you get out to the car, so that we don't have to write it down. And Tim, from your times behind the desk in a CarMax, how many times did you write the wrong VIN down?
Oh, it's where I've seen the wrong VIN written down, right?
Yeah.
So y'all want to send me a Christmas card? Here's my address. Okay, I ain't scared. There's my email. There's my phone number. Collect that information. And now we're going to identify what vehicle it is. So yes, if you're using a mobile device, you can head out there and scan. We're on the desktop, but I've got this VIN for this awesome 2018 Impala. Notice how we'll put the VIN, we'll select the color, the trim, and the miles. I don't know, let's say, I forget what miles I used on our example, but let's say it's got really good miles, 36,000. So Patrick, why don't you take us through the questions? How do you guys see these getting used best?
So these questions are kind of out of the box. This is kind of what we've seen a lot of clients like to use. It's totally customizable though. So if you have a process in place now, we can totally customize this process for you. But are you the registered owner, or are you the only registered owner? That's pretty important to know. How many times have you gone through a deal and you found out that there's somebody else on the car, right? Have you ever had any body work completed due to a collision or any other damage? Something that might not show up on a Carfax, right? But something, and the whole process behind this is getting the customer, to open up and to, get engaged in the process. So do you have the second key remote? Why is that important, Tim?
What's the second key on even the most inexpensive car today? Still $250, right? Got to get it programmed at least.
Yep.
So let's just say for this example, I say no, we do not. Okay.
Okay. Any aftermarket modifications. Now, this might not play true in a lot of dealerships, but I was at a Chevy store the last 2 days down in Naples, Florida, and I saw, a lot of trucks that had lift kits and tires. A lot of people ask too, if you have aftermarket modifications, do you plan on removing anything? They told me a story where, they go through the whole deal, and he said, well, hold on, I want to take off the toolbox that I have back there and the tonneau cover, but you appraised it, the way it was, so then they had to restructure the deal. So that's an important thing to know. Does your vehicle have a salvage reconditioned title? We're gonna get that on the Carfax, but it's just another good question to ask. And then, is the odometer original and accurate? Once again, this is just getting the customer involved. And remember, this should be, other than delivering the car to the customer, this should be the most fun time of the whole process, right? Because it gives you an opportunity when you're at the car with the customer, if you see that they have a golf clubs in the back. Oh, I play golf, building that rapport. Oh, your son goes to that middle school? Yeah, my friend's, daughter goes there. We're finding something, some common ground that we can help during the sales process. And if we're not getting up out of our seats and walking to the car, we're missing a huge opportunity to build that trust.
So the question section here has two parts, right? Let's talk about the rating section, Patrick. How do you see dealers using this in an effective way? Talked about mutual evaluation or mutual inspection.
Yeah, so you can see here on a scale of 1 to 10, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being it needs to be replaced immediately, and 10 being it's that brand new car on the showroom floor, that helps put the customer's mind kind of, where am I at? So on glass, looking for chips and cracks. This is a pretty easy one, right? It's a visual thing. So, my
windshield's perfect, Patrick. How would a dealer maybe overcome that, or salesperson overcome that with the customer?
Well, there's a couple different things. So like here down south, tint on windows is the tint rolling back. That's one way to get there. Has the windshield ever been replaced? If it's not a factory or OEM windshield, that could bring it down. Yeah, or if the rubber around it is, fraying a little bit.
So glass might be kind of tough, but interior, I see where you're going with this. Interior, if you ask my wife to rate her interior on her car on a scale of 1 to 10, I guarantee you she would say like 5. It's filled with dog hair and sand, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, the other thing on that too is if the salesperson sees that the interior, me too, Tim, I have, as you know, 2 kids, 12 and 10. It looks like Candy Crush exploded in my back seat, right? So if you have any aftermarket products that you sell, like a car care type product, that's a good opportunity for that salesperson to kind of tee that up to the customer as a very light intro. So when they get in the box, they have that, and sharing this with the finance managers and telling them, hey, you might have an opportunity there is huge.
Yeah. So we have a couple more ratings here. I think the purpose of this, though, Patrick, and whether you use something like this or some other form, is to get the customer to agree that their car isn't perfect. It isn't a 10, right? 10's brand new, or 10 is like, cream of the crops, better than certified pre-owned. Electronics.
This brings them off of that excellent condition too that they have in the, and like you said, it's not our number as salespeople. We're not assigning this. Your used car manager isn't assigning this. This is Tim's wife giving an honest assessment of her car. So when we present the numbers, it makes sense to her, right?
And I like this question a lot for some of the Highline dealers that I work with. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate where you're at with the maintenance? 10 would be you're up to date at a manufacturer, OE and franchise dealer, or it's like, maybe you've skipped a couple. So really, really good question that could affect the value for some pretty expensive cars. So we walked through that portion, all right? And then with R2, obviously, it's about sending it into to get appraised, right? Whether it's with First Look, the auto, or whatever tool you guys use. Okay, you submit the trade. This would be the First Look, and it goes into our appraisal system. So what I recommend, Patrick, and tell me if this is different than what you do. I really think that the used car manager, the person who's going to appraise the car, just needs to go out and look at the car, and we need to agree on what this vehicle is worth. It doesn't matter, right, what the deal is. I mean, obviously we're going to start somewhere, but we want to put market value. Would you agree?
100%. You want to put the right ACV on this car, and we'll show you how not only does this tool help close, but it helps close back of your ACV, and it can really drive some profit.
So let's just say in this particular vehicle, I went out and I looked at it for you, and we agreed that the vehicle needs 2 tires. It's got really good miles, right? It's got 38,000 miles, but it needs 2 tires. Probably got to spray the rear bumper, and the interior needs attention. Let's just say Gretchen was driving it, right? but it is good miles. And so what would that cost at a dealership? Could at least be $1,000 bucks. Would you agree?
Sure.
An estimated recon? I think that's fair. So what? And we do our calculations, and let's just say, let's look at the books. Average black book is 14 grand. Kelly Blue Book Excellence 13.1. I kind of got this thing around 13.8, sell for 16.9. Probably could put almost, if we had to, could we put 14 grand on this thing? Maybe.
Sure.
Okay. All right, cool. So once we agree on our value, the really cool thing about the Max My Trade tool, which may be a little bit different than other tools, is our Max My Trade customer offer form. Okay. So this is the sheet that folks who use this tool have access to. That is 110% customizable. I love this sheet. What we do is we took all the information that the salesperson collected on their mobile device, and we transfer it into here, okay, into this little tool that allows you to build your market-based appraisal offer form to tell the story that you need to tell. Right? Am I hitting that? Am I saying that right, Patrick?
100%.
Yeah. So, we've got me and our good buddy Ty, and there's Ty's phone number and email address if you need to call Ty, right? And you can see we brought in the book values, but let's just say, here's the answers to those questions. And you'll notice how the missing keys, when we said no, translated here to a little triangle to let us know, hey, there was something there, okay? We'll bring in the ratings, right, from those, from the vehicle walk around that we did with the customer, okay? We'll do bring in the book value, and you can select whatever book value you want to compare the price to, compare your ratings against, right? And all those reconditioning, so those reconditioning notes came over here. So you can see we've created this really nice form over here that can help you tell a pretty good story. So I blew up the offer form. Did I miss anything over here, Patrick? I don't want to skip ahead too fast.
No, that was good.
Okay. So here's that offer form that we created off this appraisal. And this is how I walk you through. Right? Remember, we talked about slowing down. Mm-hmm. Hey, congratulations, Mr. Scoutless. Ty took a look at your vehicle, right? And you remember, we asked you those questions, and good news is everything came back good. We did say that you saw that you were missing the key, okay, but probably not a big deal on this Impala, but we did note it. Now, most customers, before they come in, Mr. Scoutless, they look at a book. What we do is we ran the Kelly Blue Book in excellent condition for you before you came in, okay, and that came back at 13 grand. Now, based on our mutual evaluation, right? Remember, together we looked at the car. We agreed that the electronics were about a 9, the interior was a little rough at it, came in at a 5, maintenance was at a 7, suspension was at an 8. Right? Really a pretty nice car, probably except for the interior. Now, so we agreed it wasn't 100%, probably more like 70 or 80%. In fact, it came back at 77%. Now, every car we buy and trade for and want to put out on our front line has to go through a reconditioning process. Now, guys, this is where I think you got to win. Good news for you, Mr. Scoutless, is that we did see that it needed 2 tires and spray the rear bumper, and the interior needs attention. But you can see my used car manager didn't think it was anything extra that we had to allow for. So good news for you. So that's how you can see we got to our market-based appraisal of $112. Do you have any questions? So did I miss anything there, Patrick?
No, and going through this, if you don't get the customer involved in the mutual evaluation of the vehicle, and I have in my head, I think my car is worth 13, and you hit me at 10, what am I going to think right out the gate? I'm going to think you're trying to steal the trade,
Right.
just like every other dealership. Like, this is why, I only buy a car every 5 years. But I might not be happy with that number, but at least I understand how you got there. And
Totally.
what did we ACV this car for?
I think 13.5, right?
Yeah. So
13.5, 14 grand.
Even if we had to bump this trade $1,000, $1,500 to make the deal happen, we're still under allowing on this car. And our dealers, I'm assuming everyone on the line right now is the same way. That's gross, right? And people get paid off of gross. So salespeople love this tool because a lot of the stores that we go into, Tim, they have a process in place where the customer's supposed to do, or the salesperson's supposed to do a walk around of the customer's vehicle. In your assessment, how often does that actually happen?
I mean, if they're doing it half the time, I think that's good.
If they're doing it half the time, I think that's 25% more than what they're actually doing.
Well, I'm trying to. I like our dealers. All right, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
But it's a process, right? It's part of the process, and when this becomes part of the process, and those salespeople start making additional gross, if you can make an additional, like the store I was at the last 2 days, they've been having a great last couple months, just like everyone has. Kids are selling 24, 26 cars a month, and the one question they asked was, why weren't you here 3 months ago giving this to us? Because if I could have held an additional $300 to $500 on every trade that was associated with one of my deals, they would have made a lot more money, right?
Totally.
And this cleans up your inventory too. We're not getting deep into our inventory as far as the value that we're trying to sell out of after the fact.
Yep.
We're not buying deals.
All right, so that wraps up our discussion today about the Max My Trade tool. All right, I'll put this back up here one more time. Our tips to closing more trades, whether you use a tool like Max My Trade or whatever, this, KBB Instant Cash Offer, or you've got your own paper process at the dealership. Get out there, close more trades. That's where the inventory is at. You know how to get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of Patrick. Go ahead, Patrick. Close us
Just
out.
one last thing, Tim, since you're in store today, put your mask on and use hand sanitizer.
Sorry.
There you go.
Right.
All righty, guys. Hey, thanks so much for joining, everyone. If you need anything, please reach out to us. Have a happy Thursday. Bye.